Before we get into the Week 4 preview, we're going to talk to another Cleveland Browns alum that will be going on the Browns fan cruise with us. All right, our next guest is an absolute Browns legend. Was inducted into the Cleveland Browns Legends program in 2008. His career statistics include 541 receptions, 5,572 receiving yards, 2,392 rushing yards, 9,266 return yards. Yes, you heard that right. 55 total touchdowns, 2-time first-team All-Pro, and a 3-time Pro Bowler. No one wants to hear me recite his stats. Let's go to it. Here he is. Everybody welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Eric Metcalf. Yeah! Eric.
Oh, you said all kind of people are going to be yelling for me. I didn't know it was just you two.
Well, you know.
I thought you were going to plug some sound in or something.
It's on our end. They'll hear it. You can't hear it, but they'll hear it.
Post-production.
Yeah. No, but Eric, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thanks for having me.
No problem. No, go ahead.
It's always a good time to get on and talk Browns football and all that.
Yep. And now before we get to some of the questions that we have for you, we do have something to talk about here. You are going to be on the Browns fan cruise in March of 2024. That is confirmed. It's big facts. Come hell or high water, you're going to be there. So, we have to say this, being that we are brought to you by the Cleveland Browns fan cruise. We're the official podcast of the Cleveland Browns fan cruise. We're going to be on the Cleveland Browns fan cruise. We're going to be emceeing most of the events on that fan cruise. We are really looking forward to sharing that Browns fan cruise with you. So is there anything you can tell our listeners about the Browns fan cruise?
I would first like to say, I don't know about hell or high water, because that's like scary. when we're talking about a cruise, right?
Hey,
you can't say that. You can't leave with hell or high water. But the Browns fan cruise is a time for Browns fans to get together on a cruise with former players of the Browns and just interact and have fun and be social in a different environment. Normally when you see Browns fans, it's after football games or just when you're doing Browns backers events or things like that. But it'll be a different environment. We'll be on a cruise, relaxing, smoking cigars, hopefully having some drinks and just being able to just socialize.
Hell yeah. So we're all looking forward to it. So with that, let's get into your story a little bit. So you went to college at the University of Texas. There's a whole slew of stats I can read off here, and I might get to them eventually. But first, can you tell us about your time at Texas?
My time in Texas was a blast. If you've ever been to Austin, you can understand that. But my time in Texas was a blast. I had fun playing football and running track. I think the only thing that I regret about my 4 years at the University of Texas was not winning many games. I mean, in 4 years, I won 24 games. But other than that, I just love playing at the University of Texas. I still bleed burn orange, and so it was just fun, just showing up on Saturdays and being the guy, and people just praising you and just loving everything you did for the university.
Yeah, being in Ohio State country up here, they would kill me if they heard me say this, but hook 'em horns, right?
Hook 'em horns for sure. You have to say it. You have to acknowledge that, especially after this weekend, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great game for them. Yeah. And I will read off some of those stats here for you in college because you didn't talk them up. You're being a little modest here. 4,051 yards from scrimmage, 125 receptions, 31 total touchdowns, 1,650 yards on special teams, average of 10 yards per punt return. You're the only player in Texas history to lead the team in all-purpose yards for all 4 years that you were there, and you hold every receiving record for a running back that there possibly is. So, I mean, you were a pretty good player for Texas, huh?
Well, I was okay. I mean, if I was real good, we would have won more games, I guess. but it was for us. It was a downtime. But I like I said, I just enjoy it. I enjoyed being in that uniform and going out there and playing in the Southwest Conference as it was back in the day. And things don't always go as you plan them to go, but things worked out for me. I just like being out there on Saturdays. I still like I said, bleed burnt orange because it was a fun time. I mean, when you talk about all the stats, it really doesn't mean much to me because those are things that I did my entire life. You know, from the time I started playing football, I was catching the balls, returning punts and kicks, and also running the ball. So it's the things I did at the University of Texas were things I had been doing my whole life, so I expected to be pretty good at those.
Yeah. Speaking of doing them your whole life, we were actually looking at your high school statistics that popped up for us earlier today, and you were no slouch there either. They were also pretty impressive numbers. But for someone who's been productive playing football your entire life, was there a moment that you knew that the NFL was truly in your sights?
To be honest, I knew the NFL was in my sights at 7 years old. It sounds as crazy as it sounds, especially my dad played. So when you think about that, my dad being a former NFL player, that's exactly what I wanted to do because that's what he did. So I was trying to follow in my dad's footsteps. But to start playing football at 7 years old and being very good at it, I scored 10 touchdowns in a game at 7 years old. They called 3 back, but I still, because I was faster than most people, and so to do that and then just keep getting better and continue to do things of that sort. Each level I went to, I knew from day one pretty much that I was going to be in NFL. That was Plan A, but Plan B was reinforcing Plan A. And so, that's. I think I do it differently, or think about it differently. Had my dad not played in the NFL, but because he did it and he was successful at it, I think it made me want to do it even more.
Oh. Yeah, and you talk about it being kind of a family thing. Let's put this to rest. I've heard everybody talk about you possibly being DK Metcalf's uncle. I've heard cousin. Are you related to DK Metcalf at all?
I don't really know. We haven't done. I'm not like Alex Haley and doing research like his roots or anything. So I don't know. I always tell people we can try to find that out later. But as long as he continues to be a good player, we'll take him in our family.
Yeah, there you go. I would claim him too. Yeah.
You can come over for Thanksgiving as long as you catch 10 touchdowns a year.
No.
So on top of being a football star at Texas, I know you mentioned it a little bit when you were talking as well, but you also did track and field there. You hold their long jump record. You were national long jump champion in 86, 88. You won conference titles in 86 and 87. You were U.S. junior national long jump champion in 86 and 87, 5-time All-American in 1988. You competed in the U.S. Olympic trials and you finished 8th overall. So, I know you said Plan A was football, Plan B was reinforcing Plan A. Plan C must have been track and field, I'm guessing.
It never was. And I think, like when you're talking about the trials and me finishing 8th, I'm not saying I would have made the Olympic team, but when I went to the Olympic trials, I had no desire to make that team. Because it was going into my senior year of football. I was at the time considered to be a Heisman candidate. Barry Sanders won it, and no one else was going to win it, of course, after that remarkable season. But because the Olympics that year were in Seoul, Korea, and they were in September. In order for me to compete, that means I would have had to miss football, and that was not going to happen because then I wouldn't be reinforcing Plan A. Right. So I can honestly say, like, that's one of the first times in my life that I went into doing something and not really thinking about winning, because I didn't care. I wanted to play football. That was my goal. It's always been my goal since the day I stepped on the football field or the day I was able to watch my dad do it. That's just what I wanted to do. So track, I love it. I love everything about it. But it wasn't something I wanted to do, like, professionally.
Gotcha. No, that's that's a funny story, in my opinion. That I did the trials, but I didn't really care. I just did it because they wanted me to do it. I didn't want to do it.
Because I was pretty good at it, so I figured, I'm just going to do this, right?
Yeah, it helps your draft stock if you make the Olympic team, probably, right?
I don't know. I mean, I got drafted at number 13, so
your draft stock was pretty high.
I mean, I wasn't going to be the first running back taken, which was Barry Sanders. He was number 3, but I was number 4, I think, at 13, which is probably something that we won't see again. 4 running backs taken in the top 13 picks.
No. But no, that's a perfect segue. My next point here was just that you were drafted by the Browns in the first round in 1989, 13th overall. You ended up playing for the Browns from 1989 to 1994. So can you tell us a little bit about your time with the team?
Oh, I absolutely loved my time with the team, which is strange, and because when I got drafted by the Browns, I was like, I never really thought about being a Cleveland Browns. I actually wanted to be drafted by the Rams. I felt like I was the LA type of guy. I need to be Hollywood. And so, but they picked later in the draft, and I got drafted by the Browns after they made several trades to get me. And I come here in May for minicamp, and my agent is like, do not practice because it's, you don't have a contract. If you get hurt, they're probably not going to give you what we want. And so don't practice. And so just stand out there and watch practice. And my agent had talked to Ernie, of course, and all those guys that this was what was going to happen. Right. So I'm out there. And once again, it's May. I'm coming from the University of Texas in Austin. On the worst day, I'm getting 70 degrees. But during this mini camp, it was snowing. It's May. It's snowing. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to work. It's snowing in May. I can just imagine how it's going to be November, December. And they're playing on natural grass, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know if that was really grass. That was more so dirt. And so I wasn't really excited about it. I mean, of course, you're happy that you got drafted in the first round. You're happy that you got drafted, period, and you have the opportunity to be in the NFL. But I wasn't really excited about playing in the cold and playing on dirt because I felt like it would slow me down. And so fast forward, I held out, didn't come to Cleveland until the last preseason game. Played. These guys took me in like I had been here for years. The season started. We're winning games. I'm making some pretty good plays. And from that moment on, I just loved being able to call myself a Cleveland Brown. Not just because we were winning games and I was producing on the field, but because the way the fans treated me, the way they still have respect for me as a player. And so I just love being a Cleveland Brown.
Cleveland's definitely no Hollywood, but I will say that we bleed our team's colors far more than any LA team ever did, in my opinion.
Yeah, we do, and I mean, and that's what I appreciate most about the Cleveland fans, because they're with you ride or die, whether they're winning or losing. They're just, and there've been some lean years here. And so, but the Browns fans are Browns fans. And so I just appreciate the fact that they ride or die with you as a team and with you as a player, and just are hoping that something good happens for them.
Can you talk about your time? I know there was, some pretty interesting coaches there during your time with like Belichick coming in. Do you have any good Belichick stories?
Is this PG, R, or G?
Whatever you want it to be. We don't have a rating here.
It's weird because when Bill came in, obviously he came from the Giants under Bill Parcells, and he comes in and he's kind of coaching like he had been. He was still with the Giants as Parcells, and we all know how that went. And so we always knew that he was going to be a very good coach. It was just when Bill came in, he wanted to do it his way, and we had stubborn veterans who had been winning and wanted to continue to do it our way. So it didn't really coexist. And so I think that is the problem as to why we didn't get to the Super Bowl, because we had very good players and good teams that could have made it, but it just didn't gel together like we should have. If Bill had gotten his due time, I think the Browns could have got to this. Well, I say the Browns, but by that time they would have moved to the Ravens anyway. But I feel like he could have got to a championship with those teams.
We don't like to talk about those dark times.
I mean, it's part of the history, so you have to, right?
I know.
It's true.
I know. No, I mean, you mentioned some of your early times there too. Is there any advice that you have for current Browns players, especially the young guys that are coming in and starting their careers?
I would say just embrace the moment and embrace the town. I think guys, it's a different era, of course, and guys think differently when they play in the NFL because they move more than guys used to back in the day. I mean, I was traded 5 times, but that's rare. Not traded, but played on 5 teams, but that's rare. These days, it's a lot of people do it. And so I'll say embrace the moment. Just love the city because the city loves you. And whether you win and lose, you will still be appreciated. And so I just like guys to just appreciate this because it's an honor to play here for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and it's awesome to hear veterans, alumni like yourself say those things because, we do, like we've talked about this entire time. We bleed our team's colors. We love you guys. Even though we get down on you guys sometimes, we love you through it all, and we keep coming back for more. So real quick, spending time with the franchise, obviously, it's more than just playing football. You become kind of a family with your team. You get involved with the community, those types of things. Do you have a favorite off-the-field memory from your time in Cleveland?
Off the field moment, favorite time. This is going to, when I got inducted into the Legends and they did our ceremony in the stadium. But after that, when they announced us on the field, I remember coming out of the stadium, I was with family and friends, and some guy recognized me. He looked, he's like, "That's Eric Metcalf," and he looked at my family and friends. And he said, "That's Eric Metcalf. Why is he walking? You guys should be carrying him." and I looked at them and I was like, "He's so right." They should be carrying me. And so in my mind, I was thinking, this is how fans of the Cleveland Browns feel about me. And I appreciate that most because that in order for them to appreciate you like that, that means you have had to do something that left memories for them as well as yourself. So I appreciate how the fans treat me and have always treated me.
Yeah. And Kenny, you got anything else here before?
Yeah, just on that same line. I think just fan favorite for sure. I don't know how familiar you are with the old Tecmo Super Bowl game, but I remember that Eric Metcalf was my favorite running back to play with growing up on the old NES. So, fan favorite for sure. Quick question, too, just around, obviously, you return kicks, punts. You were really one of the first guys that was coined a return specialist, even though, you played running back and caught the ball as well. How do you feel about that in general? Do you consider yourself a return specialist, someone that kind of paved the way for guys like, Josh Cribbs, Dante Hall? What are your thoughts on that?
I actually just consider myself a football player, meaning I could do more than one thing. Because I think football players could do a lot of things. And so I consider myself a football player. And unfortunately, the way I play, I would be more successful today because the way they play the game. Whereas back in that day when I first came in the league, it was a different brand of football. And so people say that I wasn't used right, but that's how football was played. And so you just take it as it is. But it was just fun being able to do all those things.
It's funny that you say that because literally right before we started the interview, we were just talking about how if you were on the team today, you'd be an absolute stud because you can do everything.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about just like the guys that you use, like Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler, like you would fit right into that kind of group, right? A guy that can do literally everything on the field.
Right.
So,
When you look at someone like me, back in when I was playing, I'm considered a third down back. We come in and, run some draws, run some screens, catch some balls out of the backfield. But now, because of the way the game is played, feels spread out, a guy like me, like you said, like Christian McCaffrey, like the Alvin Kamara's, those kind of guys, they can play all three downs. Right, because the field is so spread out, you can still use them in the same way, and everything. The holes are bigger, so I think it would be fun to be in the game today.
For sure. Real quick question, too, again, on those same lines, in terms of the running back position evolving in the NFL, certainly has changed a lot over the years. And I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on where the running back position is today, given we've got so many, premier talent type players that are struggling to get second contracts or decent contracts later in their careers, even though they still have are still at the top of their game and in their prime.
We know the running back is underappreciated today. I mean, and it's unfortunate because when you think about it, you have these guys, running backs, who they're asked to catch the ball, they're asked to block, they're asked to run the ball. And they're the only people on the field that are really asked to do that on a consistent basis. But yet, when it's time to get a contract, no one wants to give them money. You let them carry the ball 300 times a season and hopefully carry you to the playoffs. But when it's time to get a contract, they can't get money. Or say in Jonathan Taylor's case, when it's time for a trade, you don't want to pay him, but you want 4 first-round picks. Right. So how does that add up? How does that value add up? And so I think something just needs to be done because these guys are special. They're asked to do a lot of things, and they're carrying their teams.
Yeah, and along those lines, I mean, I hope it's setting up. We are lucky enough as Cleveland Browns fans to be able to watch Nick Chubb week in and week out do the things that he does. And in my opinion, and I know I'm a little biased, but I think there's a lot of people out there that would agree with me. He's the best running back in football right now. And I just hope that when the time comes, which is coming quickly, that the Browns do right by him and don't follow in line with all these other guys. So we'll see how that pans out.
Oh yeah, we definitely hope that Nick stays here because I mean, he's been in the top 3 in rushing since he's been in the league, and you got to appreciate that. I mean, at some point, I would think that he would want to win the rushing title, and so when it's time, we got to hope that he's still happy being a Cleveland Brown, right? And so that he'll want to stay here because he's done a lot of good things for this team, and obviously, I think that in order for this team to win, it's going to have to be on his back. Of course, we have Deshaun and a lot of weapons, and they can spread the ball out. But Nick is the guy.
Yeah,
could not agree with you more. One final question too around that. So you had mentioned something maybe needs to be done. Now is that really is that where do you think someone like the NFLPA or somebody has to step in and say we have to do something about running back contracts, or do you think we'll ever reach a point where just the pendulum will swing back the other way and the league will start to appreciate and realize the value these guys bring, especially a guy like Nick Chubb as an every down back brings to an organization?
I don't know if it's necessarily the PA that has to do something. I don't really know what they can do. I just think that it needs to swing back where they're appreciated because the game always changes, it's always evolving, but it's now we all know it's a passing league, but we do know those passing teams don't really win until they run the ball, right? They run the ball in these Super Bowls, and even if they throw little quick balls out to the running back, it's really a run. It's just an extended run, and so I think they just need to figure a way that. To pay these guys and feel like they're not burning them out. I think that's the problem that happens is you give these guys 300 carries, 300 to 400 carries in a season or whatever it is, and you're running them in the ground. but then saying that they can't do it anymore because you try to use them to win games. And so I think it's going to take not just the PA, but the league organizations to just see it within the one running back that they have.
Yeah, we really appreciate the insight as far as the situation in the whole kind of status of the running back position right now and your thoughts on it. And again, you had a phenomenal career with the Browns, absolute legend. But I do know for most guys, they get kind of this whole second life after football. Can you tell us what you're up to today?
So, yeah, I come here, I do pregame, postgame shows at Channel 19, WOIL. I do
great shows.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. I also do consulting with Nike Track and Field to help them find potential athletes, and especially with NILs and all that kind of thing. You can find high school kids who potentially be with Nike on the track side. And so I do that as well. And I also have my own brand of cigars, which we had actually released a couple years ago, but we're going through a whole reorg, and so we're going to be re-releasing it at the end of September or beginning of October.
And what's the name of that line?
EM21s. So
EM21s.
EM21s, and we will have
nice.
A whole variety of sticks for you.
Nice. Looking forward to that. And then,
are you bringing those on the fan cruise?
Yeah, can you smoke on a cruise? I don't know.
That's a great question. I would think because it's outdoors, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
We'll just take that one away.
because if I can't, that's like hell or high water.
Yeah,
and I won't be able to make it.
Well, the good news is, even if you can't on the cruise ship, we do make two wonderful stops. And so on the beaches of those islands, we will be able to smoke those cigars. So,
true.
But no, it's another great segue to bring things back to the time that we'll get to share on the open ocean in March of 2024. And like I said, a couple amazing stops along the way. Let's talk about what everybody should look forward to. So what event or activity during the entire cruise are you looking forward to the most?
I don't know if there's an event or activity as much as just being able to hang out with fans in that atmosphere. Where it's relaxed. When I'm usually around fans, when we're talking about a bunch of them, it's like a hostile environment, and so it could be at a game or it could be at a backers event. And so it's about, I got to get autographs right now, or got to talk to them right now, or I'm going to miss some things like that. Whereas when we're talking about being on the water, it's just hanging out, relaxing, having drinks, hopefully smoking cigars, and just being able to chill. And then you get to feel how people really are. And I like being around people, but I like to be relaxed in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm guessing that's probably the same thing that you would say that the fans have to look forward to themselves as well, as being able to mingle with you guys without having that red tape, that red rope there kind of dividing you guys.
Yeah, because I think when you don't have that red rope, it makes it easier just for everyone to relax. It doesn't make it a hostile environment because once again, you're not pressed to have to meet a person at that very moment. You're going to be on this cruise with us for a few days, and so everybody can just relax and have fun and enjoy the moment. I think that makes it a lot more personal. You get to enjoy people more like that when it's just chilling out.
Hell yeah. So we're super excited for that too. I also know there is a competition for the Browns backers organizations out there. The chapter with the most bookings will get an all expenses paid balcony cabin for two on the Browns fan cruise. The chapter with the highest members to bookings ratio also gets an all expenses paid ocean view cabin for two. All members of the winning chapter will receive a specialty dining pass for two guests, and all members of the winning chapter will receive a Browns fan cruise commemorative Cleveland Browns autographed football. So with all that being said, and the Browns backers organizations in this competition to book these cabins, do you have anything that you want to say to the Browns backers across the nation and across the world specifically?
I would first say, Browns backers, thank you for your support. Keep supporting this team. It's gonna happen for you one day. where you see your team in the Super Bowl. I know this. If you want to win, you should probably invite me to your club. You get some people to come out.
That's a fair assessment there. I mean, I know if somebody said Eric Metcalf was going to be somewhere, I'm probably going to be there.
That's true.
I appreciate that.
No, Eric, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we really, really are looking forward to seeing you in March on that fan cruise, and we can't wait.
Can we get real quick, just just want to get your thoughts just on the Browns season upcoming. Obviously, we just got started here. Just thoughts and expectations on this year.
You put me on the spot. No, I'm good with that because I already have my prediction. I had already told people 11-7, and they win the division.
Nice.
Nice. 11-6.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 11-6. I'm sorry.
I got you. So awesome. You're predicting a division win. That's the first one since ever.
Yeah, they technically never won the AFC North. There was a Central back then, right?
Oh, that's right. So yeah, that's yeah. I wasn't thinking about that.
I like that.
But I got them to win the division. I mean, it's a very good team, and they're sneaky, and no one's ever really talking about them. I think they'll get a lot of talk now, especially on the defensive side of the ball after what happened this past weekend. But you still got to get better and keep plugging, and hopefully it turns out the right way.
Absolutely. So again, Eric, thank you for giving us your season prediction. I apologize for jumping the gun there, but it really has been a pleasure, and we cannot wait to see you in March of 2024 on the Cleveland Browns fan cruise. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's going to be fun.
Browns fans, celebrate your favorite team aboard Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. You'll set sail March 11th through March 16th, 2024. You'll be joined by dozens of Browns alumni, chomps, and hundreds of other Browns fans as we embark on a 5-day cruise visiting both the Bahamas and Jamaica. Your all-inclusive vacation is waiting. Spots are limited, and registration is now open at brownsfancruise.com.